Global markets are on the brink of collapsing and Iran is about to be going to the table right now. How is that going to be affecting our local markets in Dubai? I'm here with Peter Cooper to find out exactly what's going to happen. Hi Peter, how are you doing?
Nice to see you, Sandra.
This is the third year in a row that global markets have done relatively well in the first quarter and then sort of have been started to dip during the summer. Do you think we're in for a hat trick?
I think it could well be. I mean, it looks that way, doesn't it? We've had a very good first quarter.
Right.
Dubai, we had a very bullish time and got to a new secular bull market. But now it's the moment of sort of truth, and things are beginning to turn down a bit. The jobs numbers in the US last week were really not terribly good at all. So their economic recovery is a bit under question. Meanwhile, we've got all these different problems around the world, whether it's China slowing down, the Eurozone still has its debt crisis, and then we've got our little local difficulty across the water here, which they actually go to the conference table this weekend to sort of sit down for the first time and try and come up with some kind of solution, we hope.
And how is that going to affect Dubai markets? I mean, what happens if they go through?
Oh, I mean, if there was some kind of resolution of the problem with Iran, then there would be quite a rally here. Otherwise, obviously, if there's any kind of military confrontation, that would cause markets to fall here. Ironically, it would be very good for the oil price, so the revenues wouldn't stop flowing. So that there would be that side to it. But we don't have to look at for a sort of a summer dip. Now, the brave people would then buy on that summer dip. That would be the time.
Saudi Arabia also seemed to have, just this morning, said that they're going to have new reforms to open up their financial market. How do you think that's going to affect Dubai?
I'm very much in favour of market reforms, whatever they might be, but we'll see what the Saudis actually come up with. At the moment, it's not possible for foreigners to directly own stocks in Saudi. And we have to get over that first of all. You can already do that in the UAE, so really they're just catching up with where we already are here. And I don't think it's a competition anyway, because it'll attract more interest to this area. It's like having 2 or 3 shoe shops rather than one. The first one actually tends to do rather better.
Great. And are there any specific reasons that you would suggest buying shares this summer? Because it's going to be quiet for sure with Ramadan coming in as well.
Yeah. Well, it could be the last chance to buy at cheap prices. I mean, if we get past this summer and there's some sort of resolution one way and another of the situation in Iran, you could get a lift off, because after all, the oil price now has been high for sort of almost 2 years, and those oil revenues are finding their way into the local economy, and we've seen a big uplift. Plus, we've had the Arab Spring bringing in more tourists and new residents as well to the city. There's a sort of virtuous circle working there, and at the moment, although we've seen an upturn in stock prices, we haven't really got anywhere near back to where we were before. The stock market would have to go up sort of 4 or 5 times to get back to where we were in 2006.
Speaking of local stock markets and local stocks, EMAAR has been your favorite one. Why is that?
It's the largest, most liquid stock here. It's also a company that's managed its accounts very well. It didn't get into a debt crisis, as many of the developers did here in Dubai. It's also spread across the region. It's got assets in different places, plus it's got very good income earning assets here in Dubai. We've had EMAAR share go up to amazing heights twice in the recent past. In 1999 and again in early 2006 it touched a record high. That was, the last one was 31 dirhams. If you look at it today, what is it, sort of 3.2, something like that. So it's possible you could have a 10-fold increase. I mean, after the first time it happened, people said it'll never happen again, and it did. So, given a booming situation, you could get that kind of explosion again.
31, isn't that being too optimistic?
Oh, well, for the moment, yes. It's a fantasy, but these things do happen in places like this.
And when do you see it happening? Like, just say, in an ideal situation, if it touches 31 or even above that, breaks that high?
I think if you continue to see high oil prices and there's a sort of more peaceful situation in the Middle East, then you would have another boom in the UAE, and that would be reflected in the stock market, particularly if they put the stock markets together and there's some kind of government push to make stock markets work. Things like privatising companies, having some IPOs, getting things moving, which they did very effectively in the early 2000s. I think now would be a good time to have another go. You could see another low in the summer. I mean, it's quite possible, but from there you'll get the upturn.
All right. And speaking of EMAAR, I read on Arabian Money that you do think that the merging of EMAAR and Nakheel would be commercially very viable. How serious do you take that idea?
I don't think it's very likely to happen, to be honest, because of the personalities involved, and it's never as easy as putting two businesses together. But if in an ideal world you could do it, you can see that Nakheel has the land bank in Dubai that EMAAR doesn't have,
right.
And and then Nakheel's reputation has been damaged by the crisis,
and EMAAR has
where
the
EMAAR
money.
hasn't got it, and then EMAAR's got the money too. So it's a win-win situation if you could make it work.
All right, so I guess that's all the time we have for today, and I'll see you next week and we can continue this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.